broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey SVU fans, welcome back to the SVU AfterBuzz After Show. If you have not already, go to youtube.com/AfterBuzz, hit subscribe. If you're watching us live in the chat roll, hit the thumbs up. If you're watching us not live in the chat roll, hit the thumbs up. Also, we're on iTunes and SoundCloud. Hit subscribe there. I'm your host, Yael Tygiel. You can tweet at me during the show at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL using the hashtag ABTVSVU. All those letters. I'm here with Lauren.
Hey guys, you can tweet at me at Lauren Salaun, LAURENSALAUN.
Awesome. We're talking about Parents' Nightmare.
Dun dun.
Yeah, this episode to me was a nightmare.
All the children.
All the children.
While I was watching it, I'm like, oh, Yael is loving all these kids right now.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this though, before we get into the plot, first thing first, it was better than last week.
Right. I agree.
So much better. I'm not saying it was great. I'm just saying it was better. Also, the child that we had playing Owen, he was, I want to say, one of the most honest, children ever. Okay. Meaning, usually when we meet these kids, they've gone through so much that they have to deal with some sort of issue.
Right.
But this kid, when we see him just explaining how his day was and what it was like, it felt like this kid isn't an actor. This kid is just describing what his day was like.
Some of it felt a little cheesy to me, to be perfectly honest with the kid.
What?
Some of it was just trying so hard. But he's a little kid actor, so I'm cutting him some slack. But sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, I was there on your level a little bit.
He reminded me of one of the kids I teach at Sunday school who just always yeah, he wasn't really talking. So I was talking. I was telling him about this. And let me tell you about my shoe size. It's grown. That's what it was like to me. It felt like a real kid, as opposed to an actor. That's how it felt to me.
Great job, kid. Keep it up.
Good job. All right, let's before we get into the plot, let's start with a little bit of this sergeant lieutenant situation.
Yes. Well, do we actually quick? Let's give you guys a hotline. We give you guys a hotline every week just in case there's some of this stuff going on that you may know about. So this week we've got the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline. 1-800-4, the letter A, child. That's 1-800-422-4453.
Awesome. And of course, this story does deal with child abduction, and we will make awful children jokes. And we apologize for anyone that we offend. This is our advisory before we begin. Sometimes these stories and situations are really messed up and uncomfortable, and the only thing to do is laugh inappropriately.
We make jokes about them.
Yeah. So please bear with us. We obviously don't condone any violence or anything.
Right.
But we're terrible people. So, all right, before we get into the Owen stuff, because I really have stuff to say, let's talk about this lieutenant sergeant situation. So, Sergeant Benson, no longer detective, is in charge of the squad, and Tucker comes in to let her know that the brass doesn't like that a sergeant is running the squad. They want a lieutenant, so she has to take the lieutenant test if she wants to stay in charge.
Yeah, and he already submitted her for it. So the ball is rolling.
Yeah, she kind of has no choice.
Yes.
But he said to suggest who she would want to be her second in command, and of course she chooses Finn.
Yes. This is making me very nervous because I feel like it's yet another, we talked about it a little bit last week, but it's yet another reason for why she could maybe be like, guys, too much pressure, I've got this kid, my family needs me, I don't know if I can take the responsibility. Finn's great, he'll take over. So I'm just uncomfortable with the whole thing.
Yeah, but I like that Finn was like, I I don't want this.
Yeah.
Because if you remember way back when Munch became a sergeant and everyone was like, wait, why would you do that? And he's like, I just took the test. I got bored.
Yeah.
So, and then he ended up getting like put into positions where he had to do stuff. So it makes me wonder if that's why Finn is hesitant, but also like, is Amaro gonna do it? Because Amaro feels super like betrayed because she didn't choose him.
Right, not you. Zing.
Yeah, but Amaro, you've been in so much trouble recently.
Seriously, what is he thinking?
Yeah, remember that time that like you and hookers,
you beat that guy, and then you beat that other guy, and then you beat that other guy,
and the hookers. No one lets you around hookers anymore. Like, do you remember that?
Amaro, you're and beating the guys
and the hookers. You're never gonna be. You're not gonna be.
Yeah, he's got to earn it a little bit more.
Which I kind of want Rollins, right? Like, where's she been? And let's put her in position.
She's young, but with her, with the hookers,
and the gambling,
and the gambling. Guys, clean it up.
This squad is so effed.
I know. It has to be Finn.
I mean, of all of them, Carisi's the cleanest.
Right, but
he's a child.
Yeah, as we saw in last night's episode with the T-Rex, which was one of my favorite moments, to be honest.
That was a great scene, but also, like, the last episode where he fangirled over Ellis. Like, grow up.
It's so cute.
No. So anyway, I like seeing Tucker in there not being a jerk.
Right.
That's
agreed.
rare.
Very much agreed. Yeah, and having some faith in Liv and stuff and wanting her to kind of step it up and take the next step.
Yeah, and everyone knows that I kind of ship them. Ever since that one episode where he bought her a drink, I was like, wait a second.
Ooh, that would be so weird.
Or incredibly sexy.
I mean, we'll see, I guess. I don't see it happening.
I
mean, we can dream about it. We can daydream about it for sure.
I don't want to see it happening on the show. I want someone to write fan fiction because it'll be better.
Okay. You guys have your assignment.
Write me some fan fiction.
Yael wants that steamy fanfic.
Feel free to throw in Voight. Is that his name from PD? Yeah. Throw him in there too.
Okay.
That's my kind of fan fiction. All right, let's move on.
Off track. We're getting off track.
Let's talk about our story of the week. We have a little boy named Owen who is super duper friendly, and he's got his mother Dana, who's the biggest flake in the world.
Oh gosh, she drove me crazy.
The first moment we see her where she's running late and then she doesn't even notice that he almost gets hit by a car. Yeah, I'm like. Okay, I'm angry.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I am not such a fan of children, I'm less a fan of terrible parents.
I'm right there with you. And I mean, just obviously as a parent, you'd notice, like, you're not just going to like, here, go out into the New York streets. I'm turning my back in my pajamas and going back in the house.
Yeah.
You know, you watch that he gets across the street safely. What is he, like 6?
But not just that. You hear the sound of
and when there's a crazy horn honking, you turn around.
Right.
That was actually, that moment was when I thought, because we saw in the teasers for the episode, I was like, ooh, maybe she is behind it because she just didn't even want to turn around and see that it was okay. No, she's just a bad mom.
I feel like the teasers really misled us, right? Because the teasers had him saying that she put him up to it, the kidnapper, and Olivia being like, a mother would never do that to her son, which makes you think that she's losing her perspective on things. So at that point I was like, oh, they were trying to make us think that it wasn't the mom, but it was the mom, and now we see that it is the mom, and that's just the first 10 minutes.
Right.
Anyway, then we meet Javier, who pretends his name is Carlos for whatever reason, picks up the kid and takes him. Dana is freaking out. We find out that she's the flakiest person in the world, keeps losing her phone. I really like the scene of Carisi at the yoga studio.
I loved that too.
Also, he can't just walk in and take the phone.
No, right?
What kind of I don't do yoga, but like, what kind of studio?
Well, and what are the rules exactly with that when you're a police officer? Because I get it for somebody's house, that's their private property, but when it's a public place like that, like he should just like, fine, okay, let me pay for a class, and then he runs in there.
But not just that, he wasn't searching for something, he was picking something up.
Yeah, that was forgotten there.
Yeah.
But I did love how she was, that yoga instructor was like such a good stereotypical yoga person. And I mean, not that, usually they aren't that cheesy.
Right.
But I loved him just, okay, fine, calls it, disrupts the class. Yeah. Oh, sorry, there it is. There's the phone.
I just wonder how it is that it hadn't been going off already.
Yeah.
Right? It hadn't disrupted. It had been there all day, and it clearly wasn't on silent.
Right.
Anyway, so we then meet Fabiana, who is the nanny. We have a whole back and forth. Who was behind this situation?
I hated her.
Really?
I mean, maybe not hate. That's a strong word. I don't really use it that frequently. But she was so annoying to me.
I felt like everyone was annoying.
Okay. I thought for sure she was involved kind of the whole time. I'm like, oh, well, she's having an affair with him, and then she's having an affair with him, and then she's,
you wanted it to be so much better than it was. I wanted it to be her
because she was a pain.
Yeah. No, you're right. I also would have liked...
so much attitude and stuff.
That would have been so much more interesting of a plot. Yeah. Because we end up meeting her father, Sam, or Owen's father, Sam Farhidi. Guys, if you watch Homeland, you know exactly who that is.
Oh, I don't watch Homeland.
Okay, well, spoiler alert, that's Abu Nazir, the terrorist. So when he's making these statements, like, you see me and you see a terrorist, I was like,
you're like, yes.
Yeah, he watched Homeland.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he's from Homeland. He is the terrorist in Homeland. That's who he was.
I need to watch it.
Yeah. Guys, go watch Homeland. Great show. I was like dying at this moment.
I wish I would have been able to have that same experience.
Also, my mom's family is Iranian, so I was like, since when do people think Iranians are terrorists? When did that happen?
Well, that's what he said.
Yeah.
I'm not Arab.
No, you're Iranian.
Yeah.
Who thinks you're anything else? This is confusing. I guess that's a Middle Eastern thing.
I can't relate as much as you.
Anyway, so we then have this really who it is situation, who's behind it. So I really appreciate that they figured out early on that Javier clearly wasn't the mastermind.
Right. Guy.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And then there was a question of, was it Sam or was it Dana?
Yes.
What did you think? Who did you think it was most of the episode?
I thought it was the nanny.
You really thought it was her?
For a while, but I thought the dad was too nice and too calm about things. He was definitely worked up and stressed about the whole situation, but I thought he was way too much of like a good, nice dad to, something else was definitely going on there with him. And the mom was way too spazzy. And the thing that tipped it off that it wasn't the mom for me is that if she would have been expecting this phone call because she's staging this whole kidnapping, she wouldn't have forgotten her phone at the yoga studio. Yeah, she'll like lose her head if it wasn't attached, but
right.
I would think that with that situation, if she's behind it all, she would have had her phone with her and like stuck to the plan that she orchestrated. So that for me was like, well, it's not the mom. She wouldn't forget her phone. That's a key piece of the puzzle.
But if it was, so here's how my mind took this story. It was, if it's the mom, she has played this spazzy, forgetful character so well that you would never assume it was her.
Then I would have just fallen for it.
But also, that the plan was to get the money that she was trying to prove he had. Right? So because they had to get the police involved, it revealed, he was like, no, I have the money. And I thought that was her plan.
Right. And actually, I will say with this episode that I feel like often you can kind of see where it's heading and who did what, and it's a little easier to predict. But this one, I was like, okay, either the dad and the nanny are in cahoots together, or Javier and the mom, or something, But it kind of kept me guessing for a good amount of time.
Well, until we figured out that the mom was too spazzy to have done this, then I was like, oh, the father clearly did this and framed her. That's clearly what's happening here. And then when she goes in with the wire and gets him to confess, and then is like, what? I didn't think you really did it. I was like, then what was your plan, lady? Like,
she's like, no, stop
there's
incriminating
a wire.
yourself. When that happened, most episodes on SVU, someone is like a real gnarly bad guy.
Yeah.
In this, obviously, that's not the best way to like teach your kids a lesson or to like sort through a custody battle. But I did kind of like, I was like, oh, his heart's kind of in the right place.
He meant
the
well.
mom's not responsible enough and not like, doesn't have her in order. So he's like trying to fix the situation and give his kid a better life and take control. But I was like, maybe figure out a different path to do that.
He was the better parent. That's the worst part.
So that's the crappy thing is he's the better parent, but it's like, dang, you just
you screwed yourself. You like actually screwed yourself.
Yeah.
Oh man, it made me really sad at the end when Owen goes home with his mom.
Yeah. Well, because she's an idiot. I'm sorry.
The worst parent.
She's an idiot. And when she's talking to Olivia and she's like, oh, well, what do I do now? Like, I'm not going to get my child support or something or my monthly checks and stuff. She's
how
like,
am I going to raise a child that I had?
Right? That's like 7.
Yeah. How did you raise him this far?
And Liv's like, you get a job. You figure it out. Like, duh. I'm sorry. The women in this episode that were part of the case just drove me a little crazy.
I just really wish it would have, this is going to sound awful, that kid would have been better off in foster care.
Well, probably not. He seems like intelligent enough, like he's survived without too much trauma.
the other thing, I thought this episode was going to lead us towards, once the kid was found, the twist was going to be about this kid's issue, because I really do believe this child is somewhere on the spectrum, right? Okay. This child,
he was way too friendly with people.
Way too not just friendly,
in the
but
beginning, you see he's like, oh, hey, what's up, buddy, to the homeless guy on the street, which isn't a bad thing to necessarily be friendly with somebody like that, but a little kid, that was like one of the kind of clues to tip off that he's way too trusting. And that was one of the things that Sam, the dad, was saying, is like, he's way too trusting. I'm trying to show that, mom's not a good parent because this situation ended up happening.
And when we went there, I was like, okay, let's explore that. I want to know about the psychology of this child. But that's not where we went at all. No. And instead, we sent this child home with the worst parent.
Yeah.
And we went.
She's not like a drug abuser or.
She might as well be. She is neglectful.
Yes, she's just not paying 100% attention. Yeah. She's too busy going to yoga classes and stuff.
All right, before we get into your story.
Oh yeah.
I want to take a moment to thank everyone for tuning in. Guys, we're so happy to be back.
Yeah.
We clearly love SVU. We just had a heated conversation about a child that doesn't exist and who should raise it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. Let me say that we have one very simple request. Go on to iTunes, hit subscribe, rate and review us. If you leave us a review, we read it here on the air. No one left us a review last week, and that makes me sad. So, you guys, next week's the season finale.
Do it.
Write a comment. Be there. Yeah. We're back. That's what matters. If you like us, give us 5 stars. If you don't, give us 4 stars. The other stars don't work, so ignore them. Even though someone gave us a 2-star. Ooh. I assume it was because we disappeared for months on end.
Right, probably.
Fair reason to give us 2 stars, but we're back. So 4 or 5, that's it. The other buttons don't work. Leave a comment. Let us know what we're doing well, what we're doing poorly, how we could be better. This is me typing. Okay. Let's hear the story that you have.
Okay, guys. So, as we know, a lot of times the SVU episodes are pulled directly from the headlines. And I found a news article from February of this year, so very recently, about a 6-year-old Missouri boy who was led to believe that he'd been kidnapped, was shown a gun, and then was threatened to being sold into sex slavery as part of a plot to teach him a lesson because he was too nice to strangers. His mother, grandmother, and aunt were all involved in this. Like, kidnapped him, hid him down in the basement, blindfolded at one of their houses, like, pulled down his pants and said he was going to be, like, sold into sex slavery. Like, no way, guys.
So messed up.
I mean, obviously, it ended up like, he ended up getting safe and stuff like that. It doesn't, in this article, it does not say what the All 4 were charged Thursday with felony kidnapping, child abuse.
Who were the 4? The mom, the aunt?
An uncle, I believe.
Oh, there was an uncle involved as well?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm sorry.
That face you made was, that's, what?
Because not only, I get maybe doing things that are a little extreme to teach your kids a lesson, not this extreme, and that is not only traumatic for this kid, potentially in the long term, I'm sure in the long term, but you don't, the whole pulling his pants down thing to threaten him or scare him, that's so inappropriate.
Yeah. No, that's abuse, is what that is.
Yeah. Oh, some people, man.
I mean, I don't think this story was based on that.
Right, but
I'm about to say something awful. Ready? It's going to be awful. I wish they had read that story before doing this to spice up this story, because it was really bland. I'm awful. I'm an awful person.
Yael is a tough critic, you guys. I thought this one was fun to watch, but it didn't have that next level that often SVU
crazy
shows have.
Yeah,
right.
It's usually something that you're like, God, why would you do that?
Right. It usually gets a little gnarlier. Yeah. And this one wasn't as gnarly, but
no, the kid was completely safe.
Yeah, he was like, "Am I in trouble? Okay, T-Rex."
Yeah.
So that happened in real life. I'll tweet it out later if you guys want to read the article, but
man,
the people are messed up, right?
Yeah.
Go the route of how they do it on Arrested Development with all those tricks.
That's what I was thinking too.
You know?
I also saw the Arrested Development
much less traumatic.
Right. I have they're not fun facts, but I have facts for us.
We're calling them fun facts.
Fun facts. They are from the Child Find of America. At childfindofamerica.com. I don't know why that's the name of that's a stupid name. Whatever. So an estimated 2,300 children are missing every day in the U.S.
Gosh.
Oh, you're going to hit that button a lot if you're starting now. It seems that over 200,000 children are estimated were the victims of family abduction in 1999. I don't know why these facts are from 1999, but we can assume it's only grown from there. Ready? Okay. 78% of abductors are the non-custodial parent.
Okay. Okay.
All right, this is going to keep going. 35% of the children were between 6 and 11 years old. 24... Okay. 24 of the abductions lasted
Alexis in the booth.
a week and a month. I think Steven's now in the booth.
Steven.
Steven took over.
Seems more like Steven to do that.
21% were abducted by other relatives that weren't the parents. Okay. These are the fun facts, guys.
This is some kind of practical joke. It's not funny.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what to expect.
66% were taken by a male relative.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, I have non-family member abduction facts. So.
I knew it. I knew you were bluffing. I knew he was bluffing.
Okay. Stephen, are you just pressing any button you can find?
Now.
Let's see. Okay. This is going to sound... All right, this is awful. 81% of the children were 12-year-olds or older in non-family cases.
Inconceivable!
58% were 12 or older in stereotypical kidnappings.
Inconceivable!
I don't know what a stereotypical kidnapping is, but...
The kind where the parents don't plan it as some sort of trick. Probably.
In 40% of stereotypical kidnappings, the child was killed.
Oh.
Did people ever die?
Okay.
No, Stephen. In another 4%, the child was not recovered. In 86%, the perpetrators were male. The abducted children were predominantly female, and nearly half of all victims were sexually assaulted. This is in non-family abductions in 1999. Why this website, childfindofamerica.org, has not updated their facts is beyond me. There's also some runaway facts there as well. 2/3 of children are between, over 100, Let me find numbers and say them correctly. Over 1.5 million children had a runaway or throwaway episode in 1999. Runaway cases occur when a child of 14 or less leaves home without permission for at least a night. For older children, a runaway is defined as a child who stays out at least 2 nights. Throwaway episodes occur when a parent or other household adult tells the child to leave without arranging alternative care or prevents the child from returning home. So 2/3 of children were between 15 and 17. The male to female ratio is equal. More than half returned home in the same week. 99% returned home. 21% were physically or sexually abused at home. And why children run away from home? 42 have family problems. That's vague. 14% because of peer pressure, 5% because of drug and alcohol, and 4% because of physical abuse. Fun facts.
Yeah, super fun.
Great. Now that I've depressed all
I know,
of us.
I'm like,
Excellent. Let's head into Baby Noah stuff.
oh yeah, next week.
Well,
Or
before
this
next week.
even.
This week, we see Baby Noah going to preschool for the first time.
Yeah, or daycare. He's not
Daycare.
really old enough for preschool.
I mean,
He's like a 1.5.
preschool. Is he? Whatever, daycare. I don't know what you do with kids. Here's what I do know. Benson had trouble saying goodbye. And
well, I mean, it's the first time. You know, that happens.
Yeah, but she leaves him at home all the time with a nanny. What's different?
Well, it's at a different location. That's not the safety of her own home with the nanny she trusts. It's like all random kids thrown in there.
I don't believe that she didn't do some research, you know?
I'm sure. Oh, for sure. She did a ton of research.
Especially, they were like, is this Baby Noah? Like, oh, you've come and checked us out and talked to us a lot.
Yeah. Why are the other people calling it Baby Noah? Just call it Noah.
It's Baby Benson.
It. Why do I keep calling it it?
'Cause of
I'm
me.
like doing what you do.
Yeah. But we do see, the child having trouble when she leaves. And I was about to be like, yeah, this kid has, separation anxiety. This kid was abused and
Also, it's a baby.
that too.
That happens. Yeah, it's just like... I think that they were doing that and making it dramatic, like leaving him there, and the caretaker woman's like, oh, most of the time it's harder for the parents, don't worry about it. I think they're trying to do that, like you said, to prep us for some departure for Olivia.
I'm not allowing it.
But
yes,
that's way too common of a thing for parents to have a hard time leaving their kid at daycare, or the kid to have a hard time. That I feel like it's not that big of a deal.
What do we know?
We don't know anything.
Yeah, we don't have kids, guys. Let's be clear.
No.
We're making
Not
statements.
parents.
Yeah, no. But it does lead us to the pretty much what the whole next episode is going to be about. So let's head into predictions.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV.
I don't know why I get so surprised every time. In the next week's trailer, we see that there's custody issues over Baby Benson. Johnny D is back.
Johnny D.
And he found out that he's the dad. Also, Barba is back.
Yeah.
Where
from his vacation in St. Bart's.
And with who?
Barba.
And
how long has this vacation been? Like a month?
Yeah, seriously. Someone won't come out alive. Okay, so predictions. Who's going to get custody of Baby Noah? And who's dying?
I think Liv's going to get custody, for sure.
Yeah.
Dying. Okay.
While you think about who's dying, here's the problem with Liv getting custody, or the issue. He's biologically the father.
Right.
She's a foster parent. And if the bio parent is able to take care of the kid, then I think they get custody. I think
There's still a long process for that. So his parental rights were terminated because of his criminal activity.
No, because he doesn't know he's the father.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Shoot.
He doesn't know.
I don't know how it works then.
Yeah, assuming
at that point.
I assume this means that he's out of jail.
Yeah.
Right? Because if he's in jail, then his custody doesn't matter. He can't raise the kid anyway.
Oh, no.
But maybe he has a parent? Maybe
we'll
like
have to see.
he's trying to get custody and his mom will take care of the kid till he's back or something.
Well, he must be out then, though.
Or she's trying to get custody, right? Because that's the process she's in. And they've discovered that there is a relative.
Okay.
And so they let him know, and he's like, well, then I want the kid.
Right.
That's what I'm assuming.
I still think she's going to get
All right.
Baby Noah.
All right, so who do you think's going to die?
That'd be so sad if she doesn't. Okay. My gut predictions, if we're going with like key cast members, I feel like it could be Amaro, Rollins, or Barba.
I also was going to say Barba.
Because he's been gone for like 4 weeks now. More even, maybe. I don't know. So when that happens, you wonder, what is this actor doing in real life?
Well, so here's the other thing. Roya always used to point out that the more you learn about the DA, the more likely we are to kill them. So we saw him and he talked about stuff.
And
in
it
his
happens
personal
like at court. So you know he's going to be there. And they've like been, weaning us off of him the last few weeks for him not being there. But I just feel like he, in real life, decided to go on another project or do something else.
No.
And so that's why he hasn't been there the last few weeks. And then they're just like, hey, come back real quick. And we just have to kill you real quick to make it fine.
I don't like it.
I don't either. I love him.
Yeah. Amaro, I think we're going to have to deal with this Finn Amaro sergeant thing. Yeah. So I think they're going to keep him around. And I think Rollins, they could have done it earlier this season if they wanted to get rid of her.
So we think Barba's the front runner? Oh.
I think it's Barba. Carisi is definitely possible because he's barely made a dent on us. You know what I mean? Like, he's kind of not that important. He
hasn't left that much of an impression.
Right, that's what I meant. So I feel like Carisi could be, because they brought him in this season, and now they might as well.
Okay, maybe.
Or...
oh gosh, well, it's not Liv.
No, it can't be Liv.
Because you see her run to the whoever just got shot.
Yeah.
Unless that's a fake out and that person just got shot and then she gets it. Good.
That also could happen. But I feel like it's more likely, this is going to sound awful, that we see Johnny D take some woman hostage, and it's really likely that it's just her.
Somebody doesn't make it alive.
Yeah,
the that lady. Clerk.
Yeah, that lady that we don't know.
That would be such a sneaky trick.
It's something they would do. It totally is something they would do.
I want to cry next week. You hear that?
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I want Johnny D to make it out alive.
Okay.
Because that actor was on Constantine, which recently got canceled, and I like seeing him on SVU. Okay. I like seeing him in general, but I like seeing him as this terrible person on SVU. It's a fun character.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. That's what I want to say. That's it.
There are our predictions.
Yeah, guys. So make sure, if you have not already, you're subscribed. I can speak. I'm not speaking today. Sorry. Subscribed on iTunes, on YouTube. Leave comments. Let us know your predictions.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, I will not be here next week for the finale. Please don't hate me. But I am going to St. Bart's with Barba.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Lauren, why don't you tell me where they can tweet at you?
You guys can find me on all social media at Lauren Salaun, Salaun.
Awesome. And although I won't be here, I definitely will watch, and you can tweet at me online at Yael Tygiel. That's YaelTygiel. And I will be sharing all of my adventures on Yael.tv. That's Yael.tv. Woohoo! So, Lauren, we'll see you next week.
I will be here
right here for more SVU.
See you guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Dun dun.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.